Live here at 93.9 The Beat. We're here with Romeo Valentine.
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. All right.
I've known you for quite some time. We go way back. I've known you since I was a youngster, pretty much.
Yeah.
I know you've been in the entertainment business.
I still think of you as a youngster. I don't know why. It's like, you know what? You know when you know somebody when they're younger, and you know what? You don't think that they grow. Like they don't grow up. I mean, of course, everybody grows, but they don't grow up. But yeah, man. I see you doing your thing, man. You just hustling, man. You a little hustler. You got your ways in there, man. Yeah. I see it. All right, go ahead.
You've done so much in your career. You've done radio. You're a DJ.
Yeah.
Obviously you're an MC.
Yeah.
How did you get started?
You know what, man? I was doing this, and I was hosting a lot of stuff in high school. I used to have a dance crew too. So I always was entertaining. I had a dance crew called Company, and I also was hosting all of my stuff back in high school. So we had all our assemblies and all that stuff. I hosted the pep rallies, everything. So, I got started emceeing all that kind of stuff from there. And then, of course, one of the homies that worked at the radio station, he put in the good word for me. And, I got a call from my brother Casey saying, "Hey, I heard you want to get into radio." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And then he called me up, and he brought me in, and, I know God put me on the path for this. So it was it was 6 months down the line, there was an opening. Of course, it was like the bottom of the totem pole, but it is good because, I feel like everything you do in life, you got to have a foundation. And if you got the foundation, man, that's really going to help you grow and strive, because some people want to, be able to do the tricks, but don't know how to dribble,
Mm-hmm.
So it was good, where I started in radio because it was a foundational start. And it got me to lead me to where I am today, Yeah.
What do you enjoy about your profession?
You know what, man? I love the creativity of it. I come in here every day. I get to create. I don't just do the radio. I don't just do the radio on air stuff over here. I also run, digital. So I run all the websites and social media for all of our stations. We have a lot of stations. We don't just have 99 to Beat. We got a lot of top stations as iHeartRadio in Honolulu, and of course the podcasting, all that. I'm kind of in charge of running all that kind of stuff. So. I love the creativity of everything. Even with the multimedia stuff. I'm embedded with all the media that's getting put out in iHeartRadio in Honolulu. So I'm kind of heading all that. There's a lot that goes down. That I do in the back end. So a lot of it is I get fired up. We just came off the Island Music Awards. I was fired up for that. That was a lot of planning, a lot of work, and. Of course, 93.9 to Beat, we had a Beat Barbecue, second annual. And it's just a lot of creation. And also, I'm putting on a show with William Singe, and I've done many shows in the past. It's just an exciting time, I kind of have my hands dipped in places, whether I'm in the background or whether it's a foreground, It's the creativity of being able to create, God created us as creators. He created us in his image, and, he's a creator. So if we're in his image, we're here to create, I think creativity is so key.
If you weren't doing the MCing, the radio, what career do you think you would have had?
You know what, man? There was a time where I actually contemplating leaving broadcasting and all that. I was just over it. There came a point where I was just over it. And I wasn't working at this company, obviously, but I was working somewhere else. And it was a time where I contemplated leaving. I was like, man, I was so down. I was like, look, I'm just gonna go work at Jack in the Box, whatever. I was just like, yo, I'm cool. I'm whatever. You know what? I just didn't want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. I remember as a kid, I used to tell my dad and my uncle and everybody, I was like, yo, when I grow up, I want to work at McDonald's. So it was one of those things. So it was. I wouldn't be able to put my hand on where I would be. I feel like, there's a lot of talent lied behind my abilities. So it's really hard to say, man, It's really hard to say, but there was, like I said, there was a time where I was just ready to just throw this all out. And, and like I'm telling you, man, God's watching over. I got a call. And I came to just amazing company here, iHeartRadio, man. It's a blessing. Yeah.
Like I said, you've done a lot of your career. obviously you enjoy doing a lot of different things. You know,
Uh-huh.
whether it's MCing, radio, just a lot of stuff. If you had to pick one, I mean, I'm sure there's probably not one over the other that you enjoy the most, right?
You know what? Like, I mean, it depends the atmosphere. Like sometimes I'd rather just DJ and not talk. Sometimes I'd rather just rock the mic and not DJ. It all depends. I feel like whatever the mood is and all that, or being able to set the tone in the room, it all depends. Sometimes I'm just urging like, oh man, I want to jump on the mic. Sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just DJ and be chill and quiet and not say a word because I grew up shy, man. So I mean, a lot of people was tripping when they're like, yo, Romeo's in radio, what the heck? Because they're like, yo, I remember him being a shy kid, But those were those fears that once you get over those fears, if you have a fear in something, I believe that once you're able to break it, that means you're supposed to be doing it. So breaking out of those fears. So I mean, I wouldn't be able to say it all depends on the mood or the time, and that's kind of what I would rather do. Sometimes I like to go and create videos. Like I want to go film somebody else doing an interview. I want to see the content grow. I want to see others grow.
Right.
It's not just all about me. You got to be selfless when it comes to this kind of stuff. And then there's times where it's like, okay, I want to do our podcast. I enjoy entertaining and cracking jokes here and there. And then there's times where I'm just like, yo, I want to do the radio stuff, just my on-air shit, where it's just me in the on-air studio. And then there's times where I just want to DJ, or I want to jump on a stage in front of thousands of people, or maybe even host a movie premiere, or maybe do something intimate. It all depends. Grad parties, whatever. It's fun, man. It's all fun. It's all good. I like doing proms too. Just entertaining the kids with my music selection. And it's good, man. It all depends. It all depends the atmosphere. I mean, I guess I have a roundabout of things that I do. So it's like it's never a oh man, I'm dreading this.
Me and you both been in the industry for years, I should say. Do you have any memorable moments? Anything that sticks out to you the most?
You know what? It's more of like, which one can I pick? Like, I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's milestones that I've hit. Because a lot of people don't think about it, but I've been in radio 11 years.
Wow.
Actually, 11 years. 11 years. January made 11 years. January 2019 made 11 years. So 11 and a half years now. So, I mean, like in those 11 and a half years, like I met a lot of cool people. I hung out with a lot of cool people. I made a lot of good friends, and man, I don't know, like I like to look at the start. I appreciate Glass and Malone. He was one of the first people to show me love. Glass and Malone, and I always pray for that brother because he's an amazing talent. That guy is great. And he's always showed love. And what came out of that is what I like to say, like what came out of that, how that orchestrated. I mean, I met a good brother, DJ Head, and he's doing great things. And that's a great brother of mine. And through that, I met Garrett Douglas. And I don't know if you know Garrett Douglas, but I was the guy who was pushing to push his records on the radio, which was great. That's a good brother of mine, Garrett Douglas, and I got the nose at first, but after a while, Garrett got the touchdown record. That was a huge record on the island style stations, and just recently, this year he got signed to Atlantic Records. So just to see the growth from that to here, and he just released his new single as a group, Fourth and Orange. So it's really like seeing others grow. Seeing where it starts, and I like to say the orchestration was there because I met Garrett. Because I knew of him because he was on a song with Glasses,
Okay.
and I was in LA and I happened to be at this festival, and DJ Head introduced me to him there, and I was like, oh, you're Beach Boy, oh shoot, and then that's where we connected, years ago, and then of course, I did a Ludacris interview that was just mind-boggling to me because I grew up listening to Ludacris, and that was like one of my first interviews, Actually, YG was my first phone interview, and that was like long ago because with Tooted and Booted, and YG was like my first phone interview, and then Ludacris was like, he popped in the studio, and I was like, yo, this is Ludacris. This is before Fast Five came out.
Wow.
And he was telling us about Fast Five. He's like, Fast Five is going to be a big movie. And that's really when the Fast and Furious series really started to really jump off, like on another height. So, I mean, there's so many different moments, you know. I don't know, man. It's really it's really like, you know, it's really hard to say which one, you know what I mean? Out of, like, you know, working, I like to say probably the most important thing that happened in my life, is that a question? Probably is finding Christ, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Through it all, through all this, you know what I mean? I've had my downs, you know what I'm saying? I had my downs, I had my fights, and I had my loss of identity through being in the industry, you know, and I felt that it becomes so important for me to find my identity, and that's where I found it, you know, is when those things started happening. And that's when I feel like, you know, I used to, like, you know, I always grew up saying, oh, I want to be famous, you know, that's what I want to do, man. I want to be famous, like, you know, that was the thing. That was what I wanted to do. And I felt like, you know, like all of a sudden it just didn't matter anymore, you know, it just didn't matter. And things started to change, and my life started to change. And then, you know, of course, I got married, you know, and you know, we got 2 lovely kids, man. It's just like life couldn't have been any greater today. And, you know, I feel like that's just, I wanted to bring that up because I felt how important that is, of especially being in a career that I am in, that you don't lose your identity, because everybody does. And I don't believe in being something you're not, because, I mean, we all lose our identity jumping in here. We all think it's about to turn up. It's about this, man. I ain't drank alcohol in over 2 years.
Wow.
Not one sip of liquor.
Wow.
I quit. Wow. Done with it. You know what I'm saying? You won't find any alcohol in my cup, man. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done with it. Like, you know, like I said, man, is you know, you got to be able to not let the industry run you, but you got to be able to know your identity. You know, don't lose yourself. You know. So, yeah.
The name Romeo Valentine, I'm sure you probably had a lot, you know, maybe a couple of names or a lot of names, but how did you get that name?
You know what? I was calling myself Romy before.
Okay.
Romy. So the way the name Romeo Valentine came about is my PD at the time, he called me up. He's like, hey, he's like, yo, I got your name. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I said, what do you call yourself now? I was like, Romy? He's like, no, that's not your name anymore. He's like, your name is Romeo Valentine. I was like, please. I was like, bro, that ain't it. I was like, that sounds so corny. And then he's like, what you laughing for? I'm serious. I was like, nah. You gotta think this is like 11 years ago, man. Maybe a little longer than 11 years ago, because this is before. So I was like, man, no. He's like, listen, this is how I got the name. He's like, there's a jock, I believe it's on the East Coast, named Romeo. He's like the big jock on the East Coast named Romeo. And you got a big jock on the West Coast named Valentine. And when you put East and West together, you get Romeo Valentine.
Okay. And
I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And you know what? After that, I was like, cool. All right, I'm rolling with it. That's it. And you know what, man? That was I think the name Romeo Valentine is you know, is meant to be. You know, I think, you know, it's great. You know, I think it's a great name. Mm-hmm. How'd you get Justin Baptiz?
That's my real name.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Justin Bap.
Right.
Justin Bap.
Right. That could have been
J
one.
Bap.
J Bap.
That's your
Right.
rap name.
That could have been one. Matter of fact.
Little J Bap.
Matter of fact, DJ Anarchy was the one that said J Bap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was going to get over that.
And you know me and Jules Washington.
Yeah.
Man, that's my brother, man. You know, we've known each other before all this. You know what I'm saying? Before all the radio, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And we used to live together too, man. We was living together for a while. We were roommates. And, you know, I'm proud of that guy, man. He's came a long way. I remember from the first day he was in the studio. You know, that guy's come a long way. I remember the first day he got into because he was just DJing before, and I remember, you know, he wanted to pursue, you know, music, you know, in the music industry of producing and all that kind of stuff. And he actually, when I was trying to rap, he actually produced some of my first records that I did during those times. So, yeah, man. Like I said, we came a long way, man. It's been a while. Yeah.
I remember you did a song. Matter of fact, you was did filming at Soho. I remember you did a song.
Yeah, it was Walter French.
Yes, Walter French.
Like that was the old me, man. You know, I went through a phase of just went through a phase, man, and it's like made it out alive. You know what I'm saying? Made it out alive, but a grace. But yeah.
Currently, you're on radio. You're doing
Yeah.
a lot with entertainment still. Uh, what's the future?
What is the future,
What's
man?
the future goals? What's the future looking like for you?
You know what, man? I'll be honest. Everything is a look 5 steps ahead. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little too ahead of things,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to kind of pull back a little bit because you got to come back to, you're a little too ahead. But everything is digital these days, man. You know, like it's everything. It's all about creation, man. I want to keep creating.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at. Whether I'm in the background, whether I'm an entrepreneur opening something up, you know what I mean? Business ventures, I have a lot of ideas with those. I got my website up, RomeoValentine.com.
Okay.
It's just a lot, man. It's not about staying stale,
Mm-hmm.
It's about staying, afloat. I mean, it's not staying afloat, but staying, and being able to teach the next generation. That also is key, man. The next gen is very important, and influencing them in the right way, because we live in a world where media influences people in a way that isn't, like, that they think is a norm, but it's not. That's not how it's supposed to be. There's a lot of things that I'm looking at like, man, this is just sickening. Just seeing how the world turns. But I want to be able to influence, in the right way with giving the glory to God.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to, continue doing these interviews. I want to do like the biggest interviews that I could ever get,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to just continue, man, to just keep going and raise up the next generation, man. It's time, man. I feel like nobody should be selfish, and just let everybody just grow. There's greatness when you see other people grow.
When people look back at your career,
Yeah.
what would you like people to remember you by?
Man, you know what, man? I've thought of this question so much. I thought, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, if I leave today, what do I want people to know me by?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I were to go, honestly, the legacy I want to leave is that people do find their salvation in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, because that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. For my kids and for the next generation and for anybody who who felt love from me. That's the source, man. And like I said, man, it's very important that we give Him the glory. And that's the legacy. Me, I'm just I'm just here to do the will that He brought for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a son. I'm a son to Him. Son to the Father, and that's the legacy I want to leave. You know what I mean? All this stuff is cool, but it's worldly.
Yeah.
I want to see all my brothers and sisters up there with us at the end of this all. Like I said, man, I thought of this question, man, and is it like that's my realest answer, man? I want people to remember me as like, man, that guy loved Jesus so much, and he trusted in that, and that's what it is.
I can say this for a fact, I'm so proud of you, man, because you.
No, I'm proud of you, man.
I'm proud of you, bro.
You're still going. You're still jumping in there. You're hustling, man.
Yeah,
You creating your own platform. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people may not realize it, but that's hard. That's hard to do. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I'm happy for you, man. Just keep going.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, just keep going.
Make sure you guys lock in on your radio station to 93.9 The Beat, Romeo Valentine in the studio. Yeah. When are you on the radio?
10 to 2, man. 10 to 2 weekdays, middays right here, 93.9 The Beat. Go ahead and follow us at 93.9 Beat and at Romeo Valentine. RomeoValentine.com is up now, so go ahead and check out the website. And man, yeah. Justin Baptiz.